of pressure put on the professors, the instructors, and everybody that works with the department to try and affect and make sure these changes happen, when in reality the responsibility should be on the university. If we are the students here, we're paying to go here, they should be the ones that provide us with an environment and the faculty and the funding to ensure that American Indian Studies not only just survives but also thrives here.
An institution of higher education, if they don't teach the students to be, they're always talking about being global citizens, but they need to start with the students here and having them really look at interacting with the people in their own community. How are any of our students going to go out and be able to be global citizens that are leaders if they can't even be leaders and understand the dynamics of their own community and their own backyard?
If given enough funding and an adequate amount of professors, the American Indian Studies Department could be a leading component in making USD students global citizens.
When my father was the director of the Institute of American Indian Studies in the 70s, I used to come through the university on my way to Mankato State University, where I was doing my undergraduate work in the 70s. But when I would come through and visit, my father was in the basement as the director of the Institute of American Indian Studies. The thing about my father was he never had a high school education. And so one generation later, if we use the metaphor of the basement, let's say he didn't have a high school education. Well, his son has a PhD. So we've moved out of the intellectual basement, but physically we're still in the basement.
I wrote to President Abbott about the issue of the Oral History Centre being located in the basement, and he agreed to meet with me about this matter. He informed me that he is concerned about the issue and that there are plans to move the Oral History Centre and the department out of the basement and into the old continuing education building, and he assured me that the move will happen if the necessary funds can be raised.
I know there are plans to move the American Indian Studies Department into the old continuing education building on campus, but I think what the department really needs isn't to be moved into another old building that has a lot of the same problems that we're dealing with now, but to be moved to a building that is brand new and deserving of the discipline, and it would show that USD is acknowledging that there is growing student interest in this discipline.
In 1989, USD administrators informed the Institute of American Indian Studies that the program would be moved out of the basement. However, the move never took place. On July 21, 1989, the university informed the Institute of American Indian Studies that based upon the space assignment review conducted by Young Moore III, a recommendation may be forthcoming to relocate the Institute of American Indian Studies from Dakota Hall to the South Dakota Union 3rd or 4th floor. A week later, on July 30th, 1989, the university concluded that recent decisions regarding the expansion of the nursing program have impacted our current space assignments. Due to program expansion and remodeling needs, the following has been put into place. We have assigned South Dakota Union with priority use for serving the nursing program.
When people watch this film, I don't want them to just think that the whole film is entirely about us getting physically out of the basement, because it's not about that. We're trying to look at the bigger picture.
The first thing USC needs to do is live up to their rhetoric. That they see the American Indian Studies as a discipline that has the unique ability to produce culturally aware adults.
You know, if I'm going into work or going into class, to have this feel this university is actually backing you supportively in an intellectual way and not just materialistic way.
And this idea of we're doing this to get on somebody's case because we're mad or we're this or that may be true, but we're doing it because we want to reach a better understanding.
That's the only way our discipline is going to grow, and that's the only way the university is going to grow.
And I think it's really important that, you know, it's just about giving it down. It's about saying, I care and I want to do something, and it doesn't really matter, you know, your culture or your background or where you come from.
It's hard to do that because we're students and we're only here on campus at USD for a limited amount of time,
So I think the overall message that you know the university can give to Native country and the discipline of Native studies, which would also include you know, things like the Oral History Center, is that if it puts resources behind those facilities and upgrades them or moves them into a facility in which there is, you know, it's much better than it is now in terms of, you know, environmental toxins and just the you know, just the hazards of being in one of the oldest buildings on campus. That would send a powerful message to everyone that, you know, the university has finally stepped into the 21st century with respect to Native peoples.
Hey,